Cool. Any questions about the practice activities?
I don't, let me look through real quick. I don't think so though. Of course, I didn't bring my glasses upstairs. I guess just when, so to drink, you can say like you can use tomar or beber.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a certain rule as far as when you use one versus the other?
Ask 10 different Spanish speakers and you'll get 10 different answers.
Okay.
Not really. It's been my personal experience that in Latin America, at least, tomar is used a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah, I very rarely hear the verb beber. I taught you both of them just because we're learning AR and ER verbs so that you get the extra practice with those with the two different types of verbs. But yeah,
Okay.
I would say they're both 100% equal. Hola, Kaylee.
Hola.
Hola, te presento a Margaret. Margaret, te presento a Kaylee.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, Margaret. ¿Y tú?
Bien, gracias.
Okay. Okay, so hoy vamos a repasar las compras, cómo ordenar la comida, los verbos y los colores, the new stuff. Vamos a aprender el alfabeto. Vamos a hablar de los latinos famosos. Hoy vamos a practicar ordenando comida en una pizzería argentina. Vamos a leer acerca de Argentina también y como siempre hay mucha conversación. All right, so the first activity is just to review a little bit our adjectives. Remember in just about any type of sentence here, we might have a noun, an article, and an adjective. And they all have to match in both number and gender, right? So looking at this first one, Margaret, el libro es roja. Would you say that's correct? Correcta o incorrecta?
I would say incorrecta.
Incorrecta, muy bien. So what would be the correct sentence?
El libro es rojo.
Perfecto. Kaylee, las plantas son bonitas.
Correcta.
All right, and just go back and forth. Margaret?
Incorrecta. El teléfono es blanco.
Muy bien.
Correcta.
Incorrecta. There's an error here.
Oh, la pizarra.
Muy bien.
Incorrecta. Las casas son baratas.
Elefante. Correcta.
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 Incorrecta, hay un error.
Los actores son buenos. I don't know.
Buenos.
Plural.
Yep. Everything has to be plural.
Yes, got it.
Incorrecta. La playa es fea.
Correcta? No. Or
Incorrecta.
incorrecta because it would be female, so bonita, so la actriz es bonita.
Muy bien. Describe las flores, Margaret.
Las flores son bonitas y amarillas.
Perfecto. Describe el carro, Kaylee.
El carro es chico azul.
Chico y azul. Muy bien.
Chico y azul.
Describe la casa.
La casa es grande y what is that? Azul.
Muy bien. Describe los zapatos.
Los zapatos es, would these be old?
You could say that, sure.
So viejo y rojo.
And then you have to make it plural, right? So los zapatos son viejos y
Y
rojos.
rojos.
Muy bien.
La planta es chica y verde.
Describe el gato.
El gato es chico y negro.
Describe el perro.
El perro es let's see. Nuevo y blanco.
Muy bien. Describe el escritorio.
El escritorio es viejo y marrón.
Muy bien. Describe el marcador.
El marcador es barato y morado.
Describe la computadora.
La computadora es caro y
And make it feminine. Cara.
cara y anaranjada.
Muy bien. Okay. Excellent. If you can say that word, you can speak Spanish, I promise. All right, let's go with the full alphabet today. Repiten. A,
A,
B,
B,
C,
C,
D,
D,
E,
A,
F,
F,
G,
G,
H,
H,
I, oops, I,
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 J,
J,
K,
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 L,
L,
M,
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 N,
N,
Ñ,
N,
M,
O,
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 P,
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 Q,
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 R,
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 S,
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 T,
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 U,
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 V,
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 W,
W,
V, doble,
X,
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 Y,
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 Z.
Z.
Okay, muy bien. So things like numbers, the alphabet, they're kind of like these long random chains of sound. So it's kind of hard to memorize, you know. There's a reason why we all learn the alphabet song as kids, you know. And if you're like me, I still sing it in my head if I ever have to categorize something alphabetically, you know. I haven't found a good alphabet song for adults, you know, for Spanish. So instead, I created this color-coded chart for my students that I think kind of helps visualize this for you. As you can see, if we have our 5 vowel sounds up top, A, E, I, O, U, the vast majority of the letters produce the A sound, right? B, C, D, E, F, H, H, etc., right? So when in doubt, guess A if you're in a situation where you're spelling. Perhaps more importantly, focus on the other letters, right? Like the A sound here, we've got, repeat after me, A,
A,
J,
J,
K,
K,
Z.
Z,
Z,
For E, we just have 2, E,
I,
X,
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 just 1 for O,
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 and then 2 for U, Q,
Q,
U.
U.
Muy bien. All right. So here's that full alphabet now with the different colors being represented here. Okay. Something interesting to note, languages change and they evolve over time. The Royal Spanish Academy is this institution in Madrid that's responsible for governing the Spanish language itself, made an official change to the alphabet back in 2010. So if you've studied Spanish at some point in the past, high school or college, there's a very good chance you learned a slightly different alphabet than what I just shared with you. So I want to talk about some of those changes because this is the correct alphabet today. So the letter B versus the letter V, both produce the exact same sound in Spanish. They both produce a B as in boy sound, right? Before 2010, if you're spelling something and that letter came up, people would say B grande or B chica to distinguish between the two. After 2010, they changed the alphabet to make it easier, so it's now B and Ube, okay? We're still in kind of a transitionary stage. This only happened 12 years ago, which means if you went to school before 2010, you learned the old alphabet, and if you went to school after 2010, you learned the new alphabet, so you kind of have to know both. The letter Y was originally borrowed from the Greek alphabet, so its name used to be Y. Now they changed it to Y to be more in line with the primary sound that it produces. The letter W used to be the doble B. They changed it to Ube doble. And then finally, the double letters, the Che, the AJ, and the R, are no longer considered official letters. They just are double letters. So they decided no need to teach it on the alphabet anymore. So this is the new current alphabet. Let's go through it one more time. Repiten. A.
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 B.
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 C.
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 D.
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 E.
A.
A.
F.
F. A.
F. A.
G.
G.
A.
H.
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 I.
E.
E.
J.
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 K.
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 L.
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 M.
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 N.
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 O.
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 P.
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 Q.
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 R.
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 S.
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 T.
T.
K.
U.
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 V.
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 W.
V. W.
V. W.
X.
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 Y.
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 Z.
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 The good news is spelling is typically pretty easy in Spanish because it's phonetic, right? So like the word for class is clase. And if you know your vowel sounds, a, clase, it should be pretty easy to guess the rest of it, right? There's not like in English, we have all these silent letters and these exceptions to the rules and blah, blah, blah. So Spanish doesn't have that, so it's pretty easy. However, you want to at least know how to spell your names. You both have non-Spanish names that could cause you a complication if you're traveling down in South America and you book your travel and they didn't book it with under the right name, right? So you want to at least make sure you know how to spell your names correctly. So to ask the question, how do you spell in Spanish? You say, ¿Cómo se deletrea? Repitan.
¿Cómo se
deletrea?
deletrea?
Muy bien. So let's practice here. Margaret, ask Kaylee these questions.
Okay. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo es Kaylee.
So careful here. Don't say me llamo es, just me llamo Kaylee.
Me llamo Kaylee.
¿Cómo se deletrea tu nombre?
Se deletrea, and then so Ka, A. Ooh, what was Y?
Yay.
Yay. L, and then E.
A.
A.
A. Okay.
A.
¿Cuál es tu apellido?
Ooh, this is hard. So te, uve.
First, just say what it is.
Oh, sorry. Turnwald. It's Turnwald.
Okay, sorry. ¿Cómo se deletrea tu apellido?
Se deletrea T U R N V doble A L. What is D? Just D.
A.
D.
When in doubt, guess A.
A. D.
Okay, muy bien.
¿Cuál es tu correo electrónico?
Es Kaylee Turnwald at gmail.com.
Mhm.
So
And so instead of saying et, we're going to say arroba.
arroba. So
And
Kaylee
instead of
Turnwald.
saying dot, we're going to say punto.
Okay. Kaylee Turnwald arroba gmail.com.
Muy bien. Okay, ahora Kaylee a Margaret.
Okay. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Margaret.
¿Cómo se deletrea tu nombre?
This one I wish I had a shorter name. M-A-A. What's R? Ere. Hey. A. Ere. E.
A.
E. Te.
¿Cuál es tu apellido?
Es Emerson.
¿Cómo se deletrea tu apellido?
E. M. E. R. S. U.
O.
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 O. N.
¿Cuál es tu correo electrónico?
Es mbielefeld@yahoo.com.
Muy bien. All right. We're going to review a little dialogue to go shopping. However, I'm also going to show you what a more natural conversation would look like in this scenario. Okay. So how about Margaret? You're on the left, and Kaylee, you're on the right.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. Necesito una botella de agua.
Muy bien. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos. ¿Y tú?
Soy de Guadalajara. Hablas español muy bien.
Gracias. ¿Cuánto cuesta todo?
10 pesos.
Perfecto. Llevo todo.
Bien. So as we saw, starting back from the second lesson, right? You walk in, you exchange pleasantries, you ask for whatever it is you want to buy. However, this time we're throwing in some just regular kind of random conversation starters. I lived in South America for a year, and on top of that, I've traveled all over the Spanish-speaking world on many occasions. It's very rare I would go into a store and just buy something without having to explain who I was, get complimented on my Spanish, and make some small talk. So here's some common questions that might come up in this type of situation, right? And culturally, I think it's interesting to understand, culture is not right, it's not wrong, it's just different, right? Cross-cultural communication sometimes can make people feel uncomfortable, but you have to understand, if you're going down to Latin America, these are the types of questions you might get asked. So family is number one in the Spanish-speaking world. So the first question almost always you're going to get asked when meeting a new person is if you're married and if you have kids, okay? So Margaret, ask these questions to Kaylee.
¿Estás casada?
No. So I would say just no.
No or no estoy casada.
No estoy casada.
And Am I, excuse me, was I right to say casada because I'm addressing a woman?
Perfecto, muy bien.
Okay. ¿Tienes hijos?
No. Would I say no? ¿Tienes
tengo.
hijos? Oh, no tengo hijos.
Muy bien. All right, so now Kaylee to Margaret. First, a little explanation here. ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? I don't care if you want to be 15 today. I know that this is not an appropriate question to ask in the United States, right? However, in Latin America, it's a pretty common question, so get used to it. Second, it doesn't work the way that it works in English. In English, we say, how old are you? In Spanish, you say, how many years do you have? So it's interesting to note the difference there. So Kaylee to Margaret.
¿Cuántos años tienes?
Yo tengo 42 años.
Okay. La pelota. La pelota literally means the ball. This, of course, refers to sports. In most Spanish-speaking countries, it would refer to soccer. Unless you're in the Caribbean, so think Cuba, Dominican Republic, or if you're in Venezuela. And then it's referring more to baseball. All right, so Margaret to Kaylee.
¿Te gusta la pelota?
Sí.
¿Cuál es tu equipo favorito?
Equipo.
Equipo.
Equipo. So in this, what is she asking? Like, what team is my favorite?
Exacto, muy bien.
Geez, I don't know. do not have a favorite team. No sé.
Well, say that. No tengo.
Yeah. No tengo equipo favorito.
Perfecto. Okay, Kaylee to Margaret.
¿Qué te gusta hacer?
Do you want hacer? What do you like to do? Me gusta tocar el piano.
Perfecto.
¿Dónde estudias español?
Would I say in USA, United States?
Estudio en los Estados Unidos. ¿Sí? So say that. Estudio.
Okay. Estudio
en los Estados Unidos.
en los Estados Unidos.
Perfecto.
¿A qué te dedicas?
Yo soy una madre.
Soy madre. Yeah, soy madre. That's a full-time job for sure.
¿Qué haces aquí en México?
Estoy de vacaciones.
Muy bien.
¿Escuchas la música?
And then add one of the, so like if you're in the Caribbean, you might be listening to salsa music. Dominican Republic's all about bachata or merengue. Argentina is the tango, or Mexico would be like mariachi.
Okay. ¿Escuchas la música mariachi?
Sí, escucho la música mariachi.
Muy bien. Because I know you're going to Costa Rica, Margaret, I believe they listen to a lot of salsa in Costa Rica. So that's probably the one that would come up, right? Okay, good. So let's do this little dialogue. I'm going to be the attendant at the store, el cajero. And Margaret, you come in to buy a bottle of water. I'm going to throw in a couple of these random questions for you. And then when you're ready to wrap the conversation up, because sometimes they'll sit there and just start talking to you and you've got stuff to do, you say, okay, ¿cuánto cuesta todo, right?
Okay.
Okay, hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, gracias. Necesito una botella de agua.
Muy bien. ¿Hablas español? Muy bien. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos.
Bien. ¿Y estás casada?
What was that again?
Are you married?
Oh, yes. Sí, estoy casada.
¿Y qué haces aquí en Costa Rica?
How do you say I'm on vacation?
Let's see here. Estoy de vacaciones.
Estoy de vacaciones. Okay. Estoy de vacaciones.
Muy bien. So now you ask me, ¿cuánto cuesta todo?
¿Cuánto cuesta todo?
Cuesta 20 pesos.
Perfecto. Llevo todo.
Gracias. Do they use pesos in Costa Rica or something else? What do they?
No, it's colones.
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 Okay. Costa Rica is one of the only countries that I've always wanted to go to and never had the opportunity to go. Costa Rica and Peru are top on my list in the Spanish-speaking world. Okay, muy bien, Margaret. Excelente. Ahora, Kaylee. Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Bien, sorry. Bien, gracias. Necesita una botella de agua.
Está bien. ¿De dónde eres?
Estoy los Estados Unidos.
Hablas español muy bien. ¿Dónde estudias español?
Estados Unidos.
Muy bien. ¿Y qué haces aquí en México?
Estoy vacaciones. Was that how I would say that? That I'm on vacation? Okay.
¿Y qué te gusta hacer?
Me gusta, I don't know how I would say ride caballo.
Me gusta montar caballos.
Montar caballos.
Perfecto. So now ask me, ¿cuánto cuesta todo?
¿Cuánto cuesta todo?
La botella de agua cuesta 20 pesos.
Perfecto, llevo todo.
Okay. Take turns asking each other these questions. Kaylee to Margaret.
Okay. ¿De qué color es el equipo de España?
El equipo es rojo.
I was looking for azul too. Rojo y azul.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Sí. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Alemania?
Alemania.
Alemania.
Color es equipo de Amalia es negro y rojo. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Argentina?
El equipo es azul y blanco. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Brasil?
El equipo es amarillo y verde y azul. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Holanda?
El equipo es anaranjado y rojo. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Bélgica?
El equipo es rojo y amarillo. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Francia?
El equipo es azul y rojo. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Estados Unidos?
El equipo es blanco y blanco. It's just white.
Más blanco?
Yeah, more. ¿De qué color es el equipo de Nigeria?
Nigeria.
El equipo de Nigeria es verde.
Okay. Enrique Peña Nieto fue el presidente de México. No fue popular porque durante su presidencia se escapó el Chapo, la violencia se incrementó y la economía sufrió. Margaret, ¿te gusta Enrique Peña Nieto?
No me gusta.
Fidel Castro y Che Guevara fueron los revolucionarios que introdujeron el comunismo a Cuba y mantienen a los cubanos en la década de los 50. Kaylee, ¿te gustan Fidel Castro y Che Guevara?
No,
No me gustan.
no me gusta.
Gustan with an N on the end
Gustan.
because there's two of them. Pitbull es un rapero de Miami de ascendencia cubana. Es famoso por decir dale. ¿Te gusta Pitbull, Margaret?
Sí, me gusta Pitbull.
Mark Anthony y Jennifer Lopez son cantantes muy famosos, pero son conocidos por tener una de las relaciones públicas más celosas y feas. Kaylee, ¿te gustan Mark Anthony y Jennifer Lopez?
Sí, sí me gustan.
George Lopez es un cómico chicano de Los Ángeles y usa muchísimo el Spanglish en su comedia. ¿Te gusta George Lopez?
Sí, me gusta George Lopez.
Cheech and Chong es un dúo de comedia activo desde los 70 y muy popular entre personas que fuman marihuana. ¿Te gustan Cheech and Chong?
Sí, me gustan Cheech and Chong.
Carlos Slim es el mayor empresario de México y a veces conocido como el hombre más rico del mundo. ¿Te gusta Carlos Slim?
Sí, me gusta Carlos Slim.
Oops. El Papa Francisco es el primer papa latinoamericano de Argentina. Es conocido por ser humilde y está renovando la popularidad del catolicismo en el mundo. ¿Te gusta el Papa Francisco?
Sí, me gusta Papa Francisco.
Muy bien. Okay. So last class we reviewed, we learned these verbs, right? So we've got what's called an AR verb, like ordenar, what does that mean, Margaret?
To order.
Okay, so how do you say I order?
Yo ordeno.
And then you order?
Tú ordenas.
Okay, muy bien. So Kaylee, since I know we didn't get to do lesson number 4 together, the trick here with these verbs, with all AR verbs that you're about to see, is you take away the AR ending, and to say I, you add back an O. To say you add back an AS.
Okay.
So these are all going to follow that model. Kaylee, ¿qué significa tomar?
Yo tomo.
What does it mean first? ¿Qué significa?
Oh, tomar. I do not know.
To drink.
To drink, tomar. Okay.
So how do you say I drink?
Yo tomo.
And then you drink?
Tú tomas.
¿Qué significa reservar?
To reserve. Yo reservo. Tú reservas.
¿Qué significa bailar?
To dance. Yo bailo. And tú bailas.
Cocinar?
To cook. Yo cocino. Tú cocinas.
¿Qué significa esquiar?
To ski. Yo esquío. And tú esquías.
Viajar.
To travel. Yo viajo. Tú viajas.
Viajo.
Viajo.
Because if you say viejo, you're saying old.
Oh, I always do that. Viajo.
Viajo, viajas.
Viajo.
Desear. ¿Qué significa?
No sé.
I'll make it easy for you. There's a Latin root here. It means to desire, in other words, to want.
Okay. So yo deseo and tú deseas.
Sorry, I was making a note. Comer. To eat. Yo como and tú comas.
So
Comes.
we just switched over to an ER verb.
Yeah.
So the
Comes.
two comes. Okay. Kaylee, leer.
To read.
Muy bien.
Yo leo. And tú lees.
Beber.
To drink. Yo bebo. Tú bebes.
Correr.
No sé.
To run.
To run. Yo corro.
Corro. Muy bien.
Corro. Tú corres.
Yeah. Take turns asking each other these questions. Kaylee to Margaret, number 1.
Okay. Ordenas jugo de naranja con el desayuno.
Sí, yo ordeno jugo de naranja. ¿Tomas café por la mañana?
So that is asking me for something for tomorrow.
Good question. So mañana means tomorrow. La mañana means
the morning.
The morning, exacto. Muy bien.
So do I like coffee in the morning?
Do you drink coffee?
Do I drink coffee in the morning? Sí. Sí tomo café por la mañana. ¿Reservas una mesa normalmente?
Sí, reservo una mesa. ¿Bailas en la discoteca?
Sí, bailo en la discoteca. ¿Cocinas comida mexicana?
Sí, cocino comida mexicana. ¿Esquías mucho durante el invierno?
Sí, sí, esquío en invierno. ¿Viajas por Sudamérica?
Viajas
por Sudamérica.
South America, right? Viajo, is that right? I'm not old there. Viajo por Sudamérica. ¿Qué deseas beber hoy?
Bueno, Margaret, ¿viajas por Sudamérica o Centroamérica?
Oh, Centroamérica.
Centroamérica.
Bien. ¿Qué deseas beber hoy?
Do I desire?
Yeah, what do you want
to drink?
To drink today?
I don't know. Yo bebo agua. I drink water. How would I say that? Yo deseo bebo agua.
Deseo beber. Yeah,
agua.
You just changed the first one.
Okay.
The second one is the infinitive, which beber means to drink, literally. So I want to drink.
To drink water. ¿Comes comida cubana mucho?
No como comida cubana mucho. ¿Cuántos vasos de agua bebes generalmente?
Generalmente.
Thank you. Generalmente.
Yo vaso.
So what's the verb here?
To drinking, bebes.
That's the verb. That's what you want to start with.
So yo bebo 5 vasos de agua.
Muy bien.
Lees un
buen
libro ahora.
No leo un buen libro ahora. ¿Corres fuera o en el gimnasio?
No sé.
¿Qué significa fuera?
Fuera is outside.
Okay.
And then gimnasio is the gym. Do you run outside or at the gym?
Outside or in the gym. Yo corro fuera.
Corro.
Yo corro fuera.
Muy bien. All right. So we've learned how to use the verbs, right? We've learned how to answer questions. The next step towards becoming truly conversational is to be able to start making up your own questions on the fly. So on the right, we've got 10 different types of bebidas or drinks. You can use all of these verbs, beber, tomar, ordenar, o desear, to talk about these drinks, right? So an example would be if we're going to ask, do you drink cerveza, right? The verb is beber, but we have to change that to the tu form, the you form, to make the question, right? So it'd be bebe cerveza, and then when you answer, you change it back to the yo form. Sí, bebo cerveza, okay? So take turns asking each other these questions. Margaret to Kaylee.
Okay. Tomas el jugo de naranja.
Sí, sí, tomo el jugo de naranja.
Muy bien.
Let's see. Bebés, what is that, how I would start it? Because it's two. So bebés el jugo de manzana.
Sí, bebo el jugo de manzana. ¿Ordenas el café?
Sí, sí ordenó el café.
What do I say? ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Claro que sí.
For ordenar, is it, or when you are pronouncing it, like, is it ordeno with the accent on the second to last?
Second to last syllable.
Okay, ordeno, ordenas. Okay, gracias. I lost track of whose turn it is.
Yeah, it's, let's see, Tomás la leche.
No tomo la leche. ¿Deseas el agua?
Sí, deseo el agua. Let's see. Bebes los refrescos.
No bebo los refrescos. ¿Ordenas la cerveza?
Sí, ordeno la cerveza. ¿Tomas el vino?
Sí, tomo el vino. ¿Deseas los tragos?
¿Qué significa tragos?
Tails.
Cocktails?
Cocktails. Okay, so sí. And I forgot what the word was that you.
Oh, I think I said ordenas. I don't
Okay.
remember.
Sí ordenó los tragos. Let's see. Ordenas el ron.
Yeah, you could have said deseas. I mean,
Deseas. Yeah, deseas el ron.
¿Qué significa el ron?
el ron is rum.
Oh, sí. Deseo el ron.
Okay, muy bien. All right, so same activity here, this time with comidas or food or meals. Okay, so you've got 4 verbs in the top left you can use, 10 different types of food or meals on the right. Go ahead, Margaret to Kaylee.
¿Comes el desayuno?
¿Qué significa desayuno?
Breakfast.
Breakfast. Sí, como el desayuno. Comas el almuerzo.
Almuerzo, muy bien.
Almuerzo.
Sí, como el almuerzo. ¿Deseas la cena?
Sí, deseo la cena. So cocinas cocinas los huevos?
No cocino los huevos. Ordenas el arroz.
¿Qué significa arroz?
Rice.
Rice. Sí. And I don't know I totally forgot what word you used.
Ordenar.
Ordeno el arroz. ¿Comas la carne?
No como la carne. Cocinas la fruta. I guess that doesn't make sense. You don't cook fruit.
You can still ask her, right?
You could, yeah, sometimes.
Kaylee, do you cook fruit?
Sí, yo cocino la fruta.
You can make an apple pie.
Yeah.
True.
Pineapple pizza.
Cocinas el pollo?
Sí, cocino el pollo. Ordenas las verduras.
Sí, ordeno las verduras.
Anything you can do about your dog, Kaylee?
Yeah, just a second. I'm sorry.
Any questions while we're waiting, Margaret?
Creo que no.
Okay, bien. I'll ask you the last one. ¿Cocinas el pescado?
Sí, cocino el pescado.
Okay, muy bien. Okay, so now we're going to do an activity here that is completely uncomfortable. And I'm doing it on purpose because it's better we go through this here in class than when you actually go out to eat at a restaurant, right? So going out to eat at a restaurant is a perfect place for you to go practice your Spanish. Even here in Denver, there's so many Spanish-speaking restaurants around, right? Now, when you get into a situation where you really go out and you try and put yourself out there and start speaking Spanish, there's going to be a very good possibility that you do not understand what the person's telling you, or you don't know how to say something that you wish you did, right? So these are questions that I've taught that are for this situation. So first, let's go through these. What does "cómo se dice" mean?
How do you say?
I'm sorry?
How do you say?
How do you say? Good. What about ¿qué significa?
What does it mean?
Puedo hacer una pregunta.
Can I ask a question?
No entiendo.
I don't understand.
Repite, por favor.
Repeat, please.
Más despacio, por favor.
Much slower, please.
Just slower, please. Not much
Okay.
slower. Yeah. Okay, good, right? So you know what these mean, right? This is exactly how when we're going to want to use them, right? So the waiter comes up to the table and hands you a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper, this is what it says. What would you say? The goal here is, before you start thinking about ordering food, you want to make sure that you understand everything here.
¿Qué significa vino tinto?
El vino tinto is red wine.
¿Qué significa bistec?
Bistec.
Bistec.
Definitely what you want to order at the Argentine steakhouse. That means steak. Bistec.
Bistec.
Is there anything else I could really use besides que significa in this page?
Not really.
Okay. Que significa empanadas?
Empanadas. There's not really a good translation for it. Empanadas are just empanadas. They are a pastry, but instead of having something sweet on the inside, they tend to have, especially in Argentina, they're going to be more like meats, cheeses, vegetables, that sort of thing. They're like little pockets of deliciousness.
¿Qué significa cerdo?
Cerdo is pork.
Cerdo, pork.
Any other questions about la carta? No?
No.
¿Qué significa la carta?
Is that appetizer?
La
Menu.
carta, that's the menu. That means the menu.
Oh, menu.
Yeah, everybody's always looking at the food and they skip over that first word, la carta. Okay, now you've been looking at the menu. The waiter comes back to the table and this is what he says to you. Buenas tardes, damas y caballeros. Les cuento que el plato del día es el bistec acompañado con puré de papas y una ensalada de tomate y cebolla. Les doy un momento para pensar, pero mientras tanto, ¿desean una botella de vino o un trago?
So I could say deseo un trago. Or do you want me to say
You could
más
definitely say
despacio?
that. You could definitely say that, but did you understand everything?
No, ¿qué significa cebolla?
Cebolla is
Cebolla?
onion. Yeah, I'm giving you the Argentine accent. In Argentina, you're right to say cebolla. When you go to
Okay.
Costa Rica, that's what they're going to say. In Argentina, they say cebolla.
Okay.
Okay, muy bien. That's more of the goal here is, right? Trying to figure out what everything means.
Okay.
Anything else? No?
¿Qué significa mientras tanto?
Meanwhile.
So I'll give you a minute to think, right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, do you want a bottle of wine or a drink?
Good. Okay, good. Yeah. So don't be scared to tell the server or the staff, no entiendo, repite, ¿qué significa, right? People will try to help you if you can admit that you don't understand something. That's the number one thing, I guess kind of the biggest difference between the way children learn and the way adults learn a new language. You've probably heard, oh, once you're an adult, you can't learn a new language. It's not true at all. Cognitively speaking, we have actually a lot more brain capacity. We're better learners of a new language. It's more of a psychological phenomenon that happens with adults that we do one of two things when we get into a situation like this, which is, right? People either tend to say yes or no when they really have no idea what the person, I don't know, I don't know if it's pride or if it's embarrassment, right? But it's one or the other. We're too proud to admit we don't understand, or we're too embarrassed to admit that we don't understand. And so we don't understand things, and that's where the problems happen. So do not hesitate to admit when you don't understand something. People will try to help you. Ok, vamos a ordenar la comida. Hoy estamos en una pizzería argentina. Hola, ¿en qué les puedo servir?
Mesa para dos, por favor.
Perfecto, adelante. Kaylee, ¿deseas tomar algo?
Deseo una cerveza.
¿Y tú, Margaret?
Deseo un jugo.
Margaret, ¿deseas unas empanadas? These are empanadas for whoever was that Kaylee you were asking about that?
That was me.
That was Margaret? Yeah, these are what empanadas look like.
Deseo empanadas de verdura.
¿Y tú, Kaylee?
Deseo empanadas de queso y cebolla.
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 In Argentina, you don't necessarily need to learn that accent. I know your boyfriend, right? Is from
Yes.
Mexico?
Yes.
So yeah, if you come out of class saying cebolla, they're gonna make fun of you. So okay. So at most typical Argentine restaurants, you'd have this option of a sandwich or a pizza, right? Margaret, ¿deseas un sándwich o una pizza hoy?
Deseo una pizza hoy.
¿Cuál pizza deseas? ¿Hay de mozzarella?
Deseo de mozzarella. Mozzarella. How do you say mozzarella?
Mozzarella.
Mozzarella.
En Argentina, mozzarella. ¿Y tú, Kaylee, deseas una pizza o un sándwich?
Deseo una pizza hoy. De mozzarella.
Muy bien. ¿Deseas café o postre?
Deseo café.
¿Y tú, Kaylee?
Deseo café.
Muy bien. ¿Es todo?
Sí, es todo. La cuenta, por favor.
Muy bien. Okay. Real quick, because I have another class that's going to start at 1:30. Let's run through this reading activity. Argentina es el país más grande de Hispanoamérica y está ubicado al sureste de Sudamérica. Buenos Aires es una de las ciudades más grandes del mundo con una población de más de 17 millones de habitantes. So what I just said is Argentina is the largest Spanish-speaking country located in the southeast of South America. And Buenos Aires is one of the largest cities in the world with a population of over 17 million people. It's huge. Buenos Aires tiene la segunda población judía más grande de América después de Nueva York. So Argentina, or Buenos Aires, has the second largest Jewish population outside of New York. Why am I telling you that? I think it's interesting. Most Spanish speakers are Catholic, right? And there's a long history of, that happening in Spain and then going over to the New World, right? But the reason why there's a lot of Jewish people in New York is the same reason why there's a lot of Jewish people in Buenos Aires. And it's from the Second World War when Jewish people were escaping Europe to get away from Hitler. About half of them went to New York and half of them went to Buenos Aires. Those were the two main recipients of the World War II refugees from Europe. So it's interesting, because I think a lot of people here, especially in Colorado, we have the idea of the Spanish speaker really being the Mexican, right? Mm-hmm. Dark skin, dark hair, Catholic, like there's a lot of stereotypes that get made, but the Spanish speaking world is pretty diverse. Buenos Aires es conocida como la París de América Latina por su arquitectura y gente europea. So Buenos Aires is known as the Paris of Latin America because of its architecture, its European architecture, and its European people. El deporte más popular en Argentina es el fútbol, teniendo 2 campeonatos mundiales. Argentina también es conocida por el tango, un baile sensual y una música romántica que se ve por todos lados. So, of course, the most popular sport is soccer. And Argentina's won 2 world championships, the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup. And then Argentina is very well known for tango, which is a sensual dance and music that you see everywhere you go. And one of my favorite parts about Argentina, hay 7 maravillas naturales en el país, incluyendo las cataratas de Iguazú. So there's 7 natural wonders, including Iguazú Falls. Have you ever heard of Iguazú Falls before?
Mm-mm.
No, nobody here has ever heard of it, but I bet you've heard of Niagara Falls, right?
For sure.
And for the life of me, I don't understand why, because Iguazú Falls is much more spectacular than Niagara Falls. So
it's beautiful.
It's the most breathtaking place I've ever been in my life. ¿Verdadero o falso, Margaret? Argentina es un país chico.
Falso.
Más de 17 millones de personas viven en Buenos Aires, Kaylee.
Verdadero.
La religión judía no es importante en Argentina.
Falso.
El fútbol es muy popular en Argentina.
Verdadero.
Argentina es conocida por la música salsa.
Verdadero.
Falso. Es conocida por la música tango.
Tango.
Salsa is Caribbean. Tango is from Argentina. No hay nada interesante que ver en Argentina.
Falso.
Okay. We've got a few new verbs for you to learn. Repiten. Hablar,
Hablar,
caminar,
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 correr,
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 aprender,
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 escribir,
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 recibir,
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 vivir,
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 discutir.
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 So these are all what we call actividades cotidianas or daily activities. That is it for today. So make sure to do the practice activities in lesson